Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A very good evening, viewers. You are watching Voice of Toronto Television with me, Anjum Malik. मेरा और आपका साथ every Friday को रहता है Prime Time with Anjum Malik में. Today is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. Voice of Toronto Television आप देखते हैं सारे IP channels के ऊपर. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, Instagram. You can find us everywhere at our social media handle is always Voice of Toronto TV. And the best number to reach us at the studios while we do our transmission is 905-670-4114. और इसके साथ साथ बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंटली ये भी है कि जब हमारा प्रोग्राम देख रहे होते हैं तो आपका फीडबैक जो है वो बड़ा ज़रूरी रहता है. उसके लिए voiceoftorontotv@gmail.com, that's the email. Please send us all your feedbacks to us, your questions, your concerns. You liked the show, you didn't like the show, what would you like to see on the show, everything that you have in mind. We are always open to all those questions. This is how we get our things better at our channel, and we've been very vocal about this. Voice of Toronto TV जो है वो आपकी आवाज़ है, आपका शहर है. This is our slogan, this is what we go by. आज का जो प्रोग्राम है is very important, and I've been approached by our community at so many different occasions. And I was told कि जी मैं एक गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल जो है उसको किसी को दावत दूँ यहाँ पर ख़ास तौर पे कि जो हमारे पाकिस्तान में अदर देन व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन इन पाकिस्तान, लेकिन जो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी है वो उनका जो हार्ट है वो हमेशा यहाँ रहते हुए पाकिस्तान के साथ धड़कता है. और उनकी जो वहाँ जो ऑल दी पीपल हु लिव इन दैट कंट्री, देयर लव्ड वंस, देयर फैमिली मेम्बर्स, देयर फ्रेंड्स, देयर इमीडिएट फैमिली मेम्बर्स, देयर पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, उनका जो एक प्रोसेसिंग का जो वीज़ा पॉलिसी है कनाडा के साथ वो क्या है और क्या हो रहा है और किस तरह ये मामला चल रहे हैं. डिफरेंट सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर इंफॉर्मेशंस आती हैं. किसी को एग्जैक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन पता नहीं है कि प्रोसेसिंग टाइम्स क्या हैं, विजिट वीज़ा एप्लीकेशन का प्रोसेसिंग टाइम क्या है, इमिग्रेशन एप्लीकेशन अगर आप फाइल करते हैं उसका क्या है, अगर आप किसी को स्पॉन्सरशिप कर रहे हैं उसके लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ता है, कहाँ आपकी एप्लीकेशन जाती है, प्रोसेस होती है. सो दीज आर ऑल दोज निटी-ग्रिटी क्वेश्चंस दैट पीपल हैव आस्क्ड मी ओवर टाइम्स, एंड आई थॉट देयर इज नो बेटर person other than the government itself that who can come and talk about this. And I have a very dear friend who I've known for years. She has done amazingly in Canada. Our only senator in Canada for the last several years. She has been serving. Senator Salma Ataullahjan with us tonight at the studios, and I'm so thankful to her that she drove here on her own time and be a part Voice of Toronto Television platform. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam bhai.
How are you?
I'm good, thank
Very
you.
opening अच्छी थी?
बड़ी अच्छी थी. Only clarification is I am not government.
I would say when the government, when I say is that when you are in Senate, obviously senators are also appointed by,
yes,
they also get appointed by the prime ministers. So in that sense you become a government as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much for taking time and talking to us today.
No, thank you for reaching out on this very important issue.
It is. हम आपकी बहुत सारी कुछ बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो आपने की इतने सालों में उस पर हम बात करते रहेंगे during our conversation. थोड़ा सा for a lot of people who may not know you in person, कि where you come from, how long you've been in Canada, how long you have been senator, all that. 2-4 मिनट हम उस पर ज़रा बात कर लेते हैं पहले आपकी बायोपिक के हवाले से. So let's talk about first of all कि what brought you into Canada and what made you came to Canada?
When I got married, शादी हुई तो I came to Canada in 1980. तो मैंने ज़्यादा ज़िंदगी कनाडा में गुजारी.
Long time.
Long time ago. जब हमारे लोग बहुत कम थे और नज़र आते थे तो बड़ी खुशी होती थी.
अच्छा.
But ज़्यादा ज़िंदगी मैंने कनाडा में
So that's like 32 years ago almost.
42.
40. I'm so sorry. 42 years ago. My mistake.
Yeah, almost 42.
Long time ago.
जी.
And how old were you at that time?
I was in my 20s. I had just gotten married.
You were in 20s. Wow. So that was
late 20s.
so moving from Pakistan, that's where you moved from Pakistan?
जी,
directly into Canada?
जी.
अच्छा.
पेशावर में हम रहते थे. है हम मर्दान के.
अच्छा.
मगर पेशावर में रहते थे.
अच्छा. माशाल्लाह. So you got married, you came to Canada. How did you find Canada back in 1980s versus we are in 2023, 43 years from now? What do you think what the change has happened here?
It was very lonely. मैं आपको बता दूँ
अच्छा।
because we come from homes that are full. We हमारा तो joint family system
जी।
होता है. My parents, cousins coming, going, aunts coming and going.
जी।
And यहाँ आके जो वो खामोशी होती थी.
अच्छा।
I remember पहले 3 दिन तो I just kept the TV on because my husband would go to work and it would be just me alone. So I'd keep the TV on so I could hear another human voice.
अच्छा।
And it was also very difficult to even get simple things. Like if you wanted anything, like for example, cilantro, then green dhania, you had to drive half an hour to get that. Ab to har gali mein milta hai.
Really?
The change that we have brought around. And I remember getting so excited when we found a place about 15 minutes away from us ke wahan pe samosa milte hain. Otherwise, we had to drive down to Gerard. So the change that's taken place, I've seen it, mashallah. The community has grown, has done well, has come of age. So these are some good things that I have seen happen.
So from 1980 perspective back in 2023 where we are now today, do you think have we as a community united, or we are still at a part where a lot of work needs to be done on it?
Do you want me to say the truth?
No, of course.
We're not united, but we are.
क्यों है ऐसा? क्यों है?
I really don't know. I myself am very puzzled. So you know that I ran for the Conservative Party in 2008.
जी.
And the riding I ran in, I came in very late into the race, and the riding that I ran in had 10,500 Pakistanis support, Canadians of Pakistani origin. And I had a hard time getting people out to vote. And I remember this one gentleman told me कि सलमा जी पहले इंसान रिक्शा चलाता है, फिर गाड़ी, तो फिर ट्रक चलाता है, तो आप तो पहले इसी ट्रक के पीछे बैठ गए या ट्रक चलाना. Like they couldn't believe it. Some people, I remember going to a certain mosque that I don't want to name, where they didn't want to take my papers because as a Muslim woman they didn't like the fact that I had come out.
Wow.
So things have really changed now. So we have progressed. काफ़ी progress हमने किया है.
So you have felt those challenges at that time in those years.
It was very challenging. It was very, very challenging being a Muslim woman, and I'd find that I'd go to a mosque and they would say, "Well, we'll speak for you. You sit at the back." But if a Caucasian woman came, they would put her in front of the congregation. And these are, and I think that has changed now. As a senator, I don't do I'm not in Mississauga that much going into the mosques and all. So I don't know what it's like, but I'm hoping it's changed. I do a lot of community events and things, and लोगों की जो मोहब्बत है, I am very grateful for that, because मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि I'm as strong as my community is, and मेरी जो ताकत है मेरी community है. वाकई they have stood by me, and they have rejoiced the fact that 13 साल हो गए मेरे. I've been a senator for 13 years now.
So 2010 you became a senator.
2010.
When Prime Minister Stephen Harper had appointed you.
Yes.
Let people know what is the process of someone to be nominated as a senator in this country.
Honestly,
there's no election for this.
There's no election. Honestly, if I know, I remember, and here I'll tell you a funny story. Some people will get upset when they hear the story. Some people might. I'm hoping they'll have a sense of humor and laugh about it. So I had a meeting with the Prime Minister, Prime Minister Harper, and we had a conversation. And apparently, after I left, he had decided I was going to be the next senator.
Okay. And
this was, I think, October of 2009, and I was appointed 2010. So Tony Clement, who was the minister then, apparently told some people that, the community is going to get very good news. The next senator is going to be of Pakistani origin. सारे मर्द कह रहे थे कि मैं हूँ, दूसरा कह रहा था कि मैं हूँ. All of a sudden, Salma Ataullahjan, who the hell is she? The one thing politics.
And it surprised them.
It surprised them, but the one thing I have learned in politics is it's not to take yourself too seriously and learn to have a sense of humor and laugh about many things. वरना जिंदगी बड़ी मुश्किल हो जाती है.
Very true, very true. How have people at the Senate has taken you as a woman from a Pakistani origin, became a senator in this country, which I know that it's very hard thing to do, because I think out of 3,000 people, applicants or something, or the list, some things like that they have, or maybe a little more.
Well, in those days there was no list. Now, since Trudeau decided that he would have a so-called independent Senate, it's not an independent Senate. They're liberal senators because they vote on all their policies. So, but I don't want to get into all that. But I represent the province of Ontario.
Okay.
So I was chosen to represent Ontario. So however many people there are in Ontario, I was truly blessed. Allah ka bada karam tha. Yeah, I got appointed.
Right.
And I must tell you that I'm very proud of my identity and my heritage.
जी.
And जिस दिन मैंने oath लेना था तो मैं शलवार कमीज़ में गई थी. To take my oath in the Senate of Canada. And I remember as I took my oath and I was walking to my seat, I saw a few raised eyebrows. But it didn't take long for people to realize, to get to know me. And alhamdulillah, I have a lot of respect. I've done well. I've been on so many committees. I've been on Human Rights Committee ever since I joined in 2010. I'm chair of the Human Rights Committee now since 2020. I used to be vice chair before that. Foreign Affairs, banking, finance, Aboriginal, agriculture, fisheries, the Art Committee. Currently I'm on the Art Committee, Rules and Regulations of Senate, which is a very important committee, and I'm on the Fisheries Committee. I actually asked to be on the Fisheries Committee. And वो सब हंस रहे थे कि why does a senator from Toronto want to be on the Fisheries Committee?
Right.
तो मैंने कहा भाई Lake Ontario में भी तो मछलियाँ हैं ना.
Exactly.
So
I'll come to you on that. Few questions that I have for you, but one of the things that always inspired me, I've met you at different events and functions. You are very vocal on a lot of things, and one of the things that I've always noticed is that Pakistan is always on your mind. Being a senator in Canada, you're also thinking about Pakistan and the Pakistani people. I feel that it is important as a voice when you are in a Senate or in the House of Commons, that you should always think about your people, in another country where you are representing that part of the world. So, ये मुझे बताएं सबसे पहले कि ये जो स्टीवन हार्पर साहब के ज़माने में जो पॉलिसी थी, हमारी एम्बेसी जो थी वो उस ज़माने में इस्लामाबाद में थी. Later on it was moved to another third country. Why those decisions were made at that time? Was that political decisions, or it was because of the in general situation in Pakistan, the unrest we had? What was the reason behind that?
It was because of the security situation. If you remember, there was at one time there was a lot of unrest and there was a lot of bombings in Pakistan.
And stuff like
in the courts, and I think there was another one, I think within the complex also. So for safety reason, so the embassy didn't move. What they did was that they moved the visa office into Abu Dhabi. The embassy became a non-family station.
Okay.
So people who were there could not take their families there. And it was not only Canada, there was a lot of other countries that did that.
Okay.
However, now a lot of our jo hamare allies the, they've made it into a family station again. So, they've brought everyone back and people with families are back. Canada hasn't done that. So that has been my question to the 4 successive liberal ministers. कि अब तो हालात तब्दील हो गए हैं. If you see our High Commissioner, the Canadian High Commissioner, they travel all over Pakistan. They enjoy Islamabad. They love Islamabad. Anyone who has been there, they've always loved Pakistan. So I feel that now it's time to move the visa office back. And हमेशा response जो मिलता था, the response that we would get is that yes, हमें पता है, we are aware of this issue. So what I want to say is, if you're aware of an issue and people are asking you about something, to look for a solution to that issue.
Why isn't that addressed properly?
Why is that not being addressed?
So ये मुझे बताएं कि for a lot of people, the whole analogy of it, कि जो प्रोसेसिंग है, लोगों को इस चीज़ का इल्म नहीं है कि अगर वो कनाडा में रहते हैं और यहाँ से अगर वो फैमिली को स्पॉन्सर कर रहे हैं, या अगर आप स्टूडेंट वीज़ा के लिए अप्लाई करने जा रहे हैं, या आप स्किल वर्कर कैटेगरी के लिए अप्लाई करने जा रहे हैं, या आपने इमिग्रेशन के लिए अप्लाई करना है, तो वो जो प्रोसेस इस वक्त इवॉल्व्ड है वो क्या है, फॉर लॉट ऑफ पीपल टू अंडरस्टैंड वो क्या प्रोसेस है, और आपकी फ़ाइल कहाँ जाती है। और अभी जो आई बिलीव आपकी 2-3 दिन पहले आपने जो सेनेट के अंदर उसको उठाया भी, उस पर जो मिनिस्टर ऑफ इमिग्रेशन है उन्होंने अपना कुछ एक अपना स्टांस भी दिया है कि नहीं, कि वो जो 802 डेज़ का बैकलॉग है, दैट इज़ बिकॉज ऑफ द पेंडेमिक दैट हैज़ हैपेंड, maybe because of the staff was not there was short staff, and thousands and thousands of applications are there. That is the reason behind it. But now the processing time is only 30 days to 60 days. What would you say about that?
Well, let's start at the beginning. So my office deals with a lot of people who want us to check on their visas. We senators cannot influence the decision. We have the ability to check कि क्या हो रहा है, is this person still in queue, is, are they going to be rejected, what is happening. So we've been doing that for years. So
they can give you a feedback from the High Commission perspective?
Yeah, well, it's from the IRCC.
IRCC, ठीक है.
So the High Commission so every time I go to Pakistan, I make sure I call in the Canadian High Commissioner. Wendy Jyoti, she's like a good friend, and have very open, frank discussions. So I always ask, so the High Commission in Pakistan itself has nothing to do with the visas, because the visas are being processed in Abu Dhabi now.
Right.
At one time it was Abu Dhabi and Poland.
And Poland? Oh wow.
Wow, because what happened was that I think when they decided that people coming from Poland don't need any visas, but they still had people there who were used to dealing with visas, and because there was a load on the office in Abu Dhabi, they shifted some of it there.
Achha.
But I think now, ab jo hai, it's solely the UAE office.
Achha.
Abu Dhabi ka daftar hai. People write to me, and मेरा भाई है, भाई कहती हूँ उसको, वो भी मुझे बहन कहता है. Fahad Iqbal jo hai, he sent me a message last week. He said, Salma Baji, 638 days to get a visitor's visa. I didn't believe it. Then he sent me a screenshot.
Right.
And I realized that this is too much.
Right.
So I stood up in the Senate. Hamara bhi regular QP hota hai. And I asked the government leader in the Senate, can you tell me why is it taking so long? Anyway, वो काफ़ी लोगों ने देखा है. I got very good response from that. He said he'd find out for me and let me know. But this week, on Tuesday, I heard from somebody who said it's gone up to 802 days.
Again?
It's gone up, in fact. So 802 days.
From 600 it's gone to 800
638, it's gone up to 802 days, the visa delay. Again, this person tweeted a screenshot at me, which is, that's 3 years.
Yeah.
So I said, I have to stand up and ask again.
Yeah.
That in a matter of a week, it's gone up from 638 to 802. So uske response में आपने देखा जो immigration minister ने कहा कि ये पुराने number हैं.
जी.
And I'm a bit puzzled if it's old cases and they're working on the old cases, trying to expedite things, and they're working on the old cases, तो वो number कम क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Why is it going up? I mean, maybe I'm not understanding, but आप खुद सोच लें कि मैं एक काम कर रही हूँ and I'm working at it, and shouldn't it become less if I've been working at it instead of it increasing?
Yeah, but what I cannot understand is that the government of Canada should be thinking that if somebody wants to bring a loved one to this country on a visitor status visa, they have to wait 3 years for an application to be processed?
Well, that's what I thought, but they're saying, no, now it's 60 days. But, bhai, I haven't heard of anyone that 60 days mein unko visa mila hai. And to tell you the truth, my sister applied a few years ago, and she's been so many times, and she was rejected. I don't know why. My office is dealing currently with someone who applied, and they reached out to us, and they said, so the first time we found out, they said 22 months. A month later, when they kept calling, I told my staff, find out again. The wait had gone up to 24 months.
So if somebody's, for example, family member is here and the mother and father is there, if somebody is sick and they want to come and join their family members, they have to wait 2 to 3 years for application to be even looked at.
So it seems. I mean, if anybody else has gotten a visitor visa in 60 days, please let me know. You can find me and Senator Salma.
If I correctly remember, Senator Ji, last year I attended one of the press briefings, and it happened into an MP's office, and we were all told that the visa office is shifting back to Pakistan. This has been done almost like 5 months ago or so. Do you know any update at your end?
Well, when I was in Pakistan in January, I called on the High Commissioner and I told her, I said, I'm delighted that the visa office has been moved. And she said, no, it hasn't been moved. I don't know why they said that.
Are they in process of moving?
No.
So that's not going to happen?
Well, I don't know because I'm not government, but like the impression I got was that it wasn't going to be moved in the near future.
So for now, I think we have a call. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Voice of Toronto TV जी.
जी हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी. हम आपका प्रोग्राम बहुत शौक से देख रहे हैं क्योंकि आप सबसे पहले तो आपके
सेनेटर अताउल्लाह जी
बहुत खुशी हुई ये सेनेटर आपके प्रोग्राम में आए. हमें काफी इनसे इंफॉर्मेशन भी मिल रही है. और अच्छा, इनसे ये पूछें कि हमें एक बात का बहुत इस बात का है कि इंडिया के केसेस इतनी जल्दी होते हैं. क्या वजह है कि पाकिस्तान जो लोग हैं वो परेशान रहते हैं? उनको विजिट वीजा पे भी आने की, बाकी स्टूडेंट वीजा वगैरह तो आप एक तरफ रख देना, खाली विजिट वीजा भी आप अपने लव वंस के लिए नहीं ले सकते. क्या वजह क्या है?
जी हमारी यही बात हो रही है. आप अपना प्रोग्राम देखते रहिए तो वी विल ट्राई टू गेट टू सम रेजोल्यूशन टुनाइट. ख़ास तौर पे इसलिए आज उनको मदऊ किया है ताकि उनसे कुछ हम क्वेश्चन पूछें. आई बिलीव
जितने भी हमारे हाउस में हमारे पाकिस्तान के जितने भी सेनेटर और जितने भी सीट हैं वो तो इस बात को लेके कह सकते हैं ना कि पाकिस्तान में क्यों इतना डिले है, क्यों नहीं लोग आ सकते आराम से अपने यहाँ पर अपने लव वन से मिलने के लिए.
चलें, आपके सवाल का बहुत शुक्रिया. विल ट्राई टू गेट द आंसर. थैंक यू सो मच. बहुत शुक्रिया. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. जी, तो लोगों में जो एक फ्रस्ट्रेशन है, जैसे मैंने आपसे अभी जिक्र कर रहा था, वो यही है कि अगर लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल कि मेरे घर को शादी है एंड मेरी बेटी की शादी है, आई वांट टू इनवाइट माय सिस्टर टू कम एंड विजिट अस टू अटेंड द वेडिंग. So they have to wait 2 years before the wedding will be gone. It will be all done, and
maybe she can come for the baby's
when the babies are born.
Baby के सालगिरह that way. But I don't know what to say. And जो मेरी बहन ने who called, तो मेरा सवाल यही था कि other countries in the region 18 दिन लगते हैं for them to get a visa. तो पाकिस्तान के लिए why is it so long?
So it is the logistic issue we have, that is the delay because the manpower is not there, or it is because Pakistan internal situation, the government of Canada looks at, you know what, this is on a back burner, we are not interested to deal with Pakistan at this stage because it's not a stable government or it's not a democratic government there. आप बीइंग एज अ सेनेटर आप क्या सोचती हैं?
नहीं, बट इट्स ऑलवेज बीन एन इशू. ये नहीं है कि ये आप विजिटर्स वीज़ा की बात कर रहे हैं. वही आई वर्कड ऑन द स्टूडेंट वीज़ा एंड वी हैड मीटिंग्स एंड आई वाज टोल्ड 79% रिजेक्शन रेट है. तो जिस जेंटलमैन से ब्यूरोक्रेट से हम बात कर रहे थे, फ्यू ऑफ अस सेनेटर्स वी वर ऑन अ जूम कॉल विद हिम, वो इस्तांबुल में था एंड ही वाज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द स्टूडेंट वीज़ाज. And I asked him and he said, oh no, it's not 71 days, 79% rejection rate, it's 72.
Okay.
So he was willing to admit to, so this is the other problem that we're facing. You know, visitors visas, spousal visas are taking as long as 2.5 years.
So when a Canadian institution, like education institution, evaluates an application or a request from a Pakistani student in Canada, they must have done their IELTS exams they must have done their bachelor's or undergraduate degrees and coming for masters or postgraduates or college diplomas or whatever. They probably have enough money to support that.
Yes.
Then why are the rejection rates so high?
I don't know.
Whereas Indian people can come here within 30 days to 60 days and...
I really don't know why the rejection rates are. They are giving some visas, like he admitted to 72%. But you know, I know students are coming, but I also know that we're losing a lot of students, and I hear from people who are involved in education. They tell me, they said there's a very high rate of rejection of student visas, and I think if you talk to the embassies and the consulates, they will tell you the same thing too. I don't know.
Is it the documents that people submit in our countries are questionable?
Maybe, but 72%.
But there are no clear-cut answers.
No. And you heard the senator's response to me when I asked the question. It's on Twitter. Whoever wants to see it, just ne dekha hai. My Twitter handle is Senator Salma.
So 2 days ago, after you stood up and you had that question period and you talked about it, now the minister is saying that no, it is not this.
Yes.
Then
कह रहा है कि it's 60 days and we're trying to make it 30 days. So please, अगर किसी को भी who's watching this show, if they've gotten a visa in 60 days, आपके dear ones, loved ones, please मुझे ज़रा बता दें कि हाँ उनको वाकई 2 महीने में
from the time of the application to the issuance of the visa.
जी, प्लीज़ मुझे बता दें कि आपको 60 days में वीज़ा मिला है. Because I am very puzzled, and I'll tell you, in the Senate, people were very shocked to hear, from 638 days to 802 days in a week's time, not even a week, because I became aware of it, I think either Wednesday morning or Tuesday, कि अब तो 802 days हो गए.
आप क्या सोच समझती हैं कि अगर हमारी Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Foreign Affairs Canada, अगर इनका जो bilateral जो एक relationship है, if it gets strengthened more, do you think things will be on a different scale, things will change?
Well, they have regular exchange, and I think somebody was there recently, when I don't want to get into too many details, but somebody I think has been there in the past few days also. Let's hope. And like I said, I asked when John McCallum was the immigration minister, but then followed by Ahmed Hussain, followed by Mendocino, and now Fraser. And Fraser knows that when he became, I think some of us senators, we asked for a meeting with him, and I told him, I said, but people were bringing up other issues. I told him, I said, Minister Fraser, my questions are all going to be Pakistan specific.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the visas delay, this rejection of the students, and the moving of the visa office back to Pakistan. Those were the 3 questions I raised with him, and he said he would look into it. He was very nice. बड़े अच्छी तरीके से उन्होंने बात की. He listened to us. But I think at this stage we want कि कुछ action भी लिया जाए.
Viewers, आप देख रहे हैं प्राइम टाइम विद अंजुम मलिक, और मेरे साथ हैं सेनेटर अताउल्लाहजान. आज सलमा जी हैं, और हम बात कर रहे हैं ख़ास तौर पे पाकिस्तान की जो इस वक्त सिचुएशन है, जो वीज़ाज़ की पॉलिसीज़ हैं, उस हवाले से भी बात हो रही है. लेकिन अगर आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो, अगर आप हमारा शो देख रहे हैं और आप चाहते हैं कि यू वांट टू एक्सचेंज एनी सेंटिमेंट्स विद अस, give us a call at 905-670-4114. That's our studio line number. ये मुझे बताएं कि लॉन्ग रेंज जो मतलब बीइंग इन अ सेनेट, आप क्या समझते हैं कि लिबरल गवर्नमेंट हैज़ बीन देयर नाउ, दैट्स अ 3rd term, so would things will change for the better, with this Pakistan and Canada relationship?
I'm hoping it will. Pakistan is one of the emerging economies, and I'm also hoping कि पाकिस्तान में भी stability आ जाए. Things will change for the better. Canada does support Pakistan a lot. Canada was one of the first few countries to recognize Pakistan. Prime Minister Harper's first international actually was to Pakistan. He stopped there. So Canada is very invested in Pakistan. Whether it's on gender issues or education, Canada does do a lot of work in Pakistan. But what we're talking about is that treat us equally like you treat the other countries in that region.
Absolutely.
And ठीक है, I please do a thorough investigation or anything if anyone wants to come. But 2 साल 3 साल बहुत ज़्यादती है.
It is. व्यूअर्स, हम एक 2 मिनट का ब्रेक पे जा रहे हैं और ड्यूरिंग दिस टाइम अगर आपका कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो, प्लीज़ पुट अप योर क्वेश्चंस एंड गिव अस अ कॉल बैक व्हेन वी कम बैक फ्रॉम द ब्रेक. You are watching Prime Time with Anjum Malik on Voice of Toronto TV channel, and our numbers are always on the screen, 905-670-4114. We'll come back in about 2 to 3 minutes of time. Some of these messages that we need to see. Thank you so much.
घर खरीदने की तरफ पहला कदम, मॉर्गेज अप्रूवल. आप सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड हो, सैलरीड हो, बिजनेस ओनर हो, मैं आपके मॉर्गेज अप्रूवल प्रोसेस में आपकी मदद करूंगा. आप फर्स्ट टाइम होम बायर हो, डेट कंसोलिडेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट हो या सेकंड मॉर्गेजेस चाहते हैं. मेरा नाम है अली यज़दानी. मेरा ताल्लुक है अकाल मॉर्गेजेस से, जहां पर when we say yes, we stand behind our promise. Call me 647-510-9494. आपके मॉर्गेज अप्रूवल में आपका ट्रस्टवर्दी पार्टनर.
Hi, my name is Sandeep Singh. I'm the owner of Heritage India Restaurant. It's a fine dining restaurant with tradition and culture. अगर आप पुरानी दिल्ली की ट्रेडिशन, कल्चर और माहौल को एंजॉय करना चाहते हैं खानों के साथ, तो प्लीज़ आएँ हेरिटेज इंडिया, 485 मेन स्ट्रीट, ब्रैम्पटन. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप अपनी फैमिली और दोस्तों के साथ यहाँ आएँ, आकर के हमारे खाने का लुत्फ़ उठाएं. और अगर आपके यहाँ किसी तरीके की कोई पार्टी है, बर्थडे पार्टी, किटी पार्टी, बेबी शॉवर, तो हमारे यहाँ डिफरेंट हॉल्स भी हैं जिनका आप पूरा फ़ायदा उठा सकते हैं.
मैं हूं तारिक खान, आपका फैमिली रियल्टर इन GTA. अगर आप कोई प्रॉपर्टी खरीदना या बेचना चाहते हैं, रेजिडेंशियल या कमर्शियल, तो मुझे कॉल करें. Sell or buy? Call this guy 647-787-7400.
Muslim Welfare Canada has made a concerted effort to lead the fight against child labor, poverty, and illiteracy in third world countries through the generous support of our donors. Both girls and boys receive free, good quality education. Help educate a needy child for just $1 a day or $30 per month. Donate generously. Call 1-866-754-3111 or visit mwcanada.org.
व्यूअर्स, आप देख रहे हैं वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न की लाइव नशरियात मेरे साथ अंजुम मलिक के साथ. और आज हमारे साथ सेनेटर सलमा अताउल्लाह जान जी हैं स्टूडियोज़ में मौजूद. और आपकी कॉल्स इफ़ यू वुड लाइक टू गिव अस अ कॉल, हमारे नंबर्स हमेशा स्क्रीन पे रहते हैं 9056704114। और हमने अपने ब्रेक पे जाने से पहले जो हमारी बातचीत ख़ास तौर पे चल रही थी वो वीज़ा प्रोसेसिंग्स और पाकिस्तान में जो सिचुएशन है और जो उसकी थर्ड कंट्री में प्रोसेसिंग हो रही है उस हवाले से बात हुई, और इन जनरल वी वर टॉकिंग। बट इस हवाले से भी अगर कोई आपका क्वेश्चन हो तो आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हैं। I'll come back to सेनेटर जी। सेनेटर जी, आप की कुछ इस वक्त जो असाइनमेंट्स हैं, you've been into so many different committees. What is the major thing that you have achieved in the past 13 years that where you are today from the time you became a senator? आप क्या सोचती हैं, ये आपकी जो जर्नी है, how fruitful it has been?
As a human being, we're very hard on ourselves, and I keep saying, oh my God, I haven't done anything. And then a new senator will be appointed, and we'll meet, and they'll say, oh my God, to be talking to you, to be in your, and I'll say, but I haven't done anything. But when I think about it, some of my most important work has been through the Human Rights Committee and the work that I've done on the Interparliamentary Union. So I'll very briefly talk about the Interparliamentary Union, जिसको हम कहते हैं IPU. It's 179 countries.
अच्छा.
It's the parliaments of the world.
Okay.
ये organization जो है, it's older than League of Nations.
Okay.
League of Nations आपको पता है फिर United Nations बन गया. Here you talk to the parliamentarians of the world. So government, opposition, everybody's there, while in UN you're just talking to government. So उस पे I did a report for them on maternal, newborn and child health as a basic human right.
Okay.
And for the first time a resolution was passed in the history of the IPU.
अच्छा.
And उसकी वजह से I was made the global ambassador for maternal and newborn and child health.
अच्छा.
So I did a lot of work on that.
So congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. But in the Human Rights Committee, जो मैं नई senator थी 2011 में, when Canada was getting ready to withdraw from Afghanistan, I suggested we look at the rights and gains that were made by the women of Afghanistan and what happens to them once Canada withdraws. And deja vu, 2022 mein, we were looking at the same thing and we were having the same conversation because you saw what happened in Afghanistan. I did a study on the cyberbullying of children.
Achha.
Which was it was a landmark study. It was landmark in the sense because we realized कि उन दिनों में social media, all this was very new, and sometimes the parents and teachers didn't understand also. And we realized one of the biggest things we have to do is educate the parents and educate the teachers.
Correct.
To educate the educators. So we ended up with bringing children to the Senate of Canada for the first time, and their parents sat there, and we had mental health available there, and I learned strange things. आपको पता है कि अल्बर्टा में there's a day where they say kick a ginger.
अच्छा.
तो मैंने पूछा कि भाई क्या बच्चा बोल रहा था? I said, what does that mean?
अच्छा.
They say they kick all the kids who have red hair.
Oh. अच्छा.
So I was surprised by that. I said, so what do you do? They said, most of us don't come to school, we stay home.
Really?
So I don't know if that's still going on, but that was a learning experience. So we published 2 books, one guide for teachers, one for parents, and that was very well received. On the it wasn't that easy to download everything from the computer, and twice we had to go before the Senate to ask for money to print that. I remember being in Serbia, and the foreign minister, Serbia, they asked for a copy of that. I did a study on the resettlement of the Syrian refugees. We visited refugees.
अच्छा, यहाँ मुझे एक क्वेश्चन मेरे जहन में आता है कि जब आप ह्यूमन राइट्स की बात कर रही हैं, आप रेफ्यूजीज़ की बात करती हैं, पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो इस वक्त सिचुएशन है, एंड मेरा क्वेश्चन फिर पाकिस्तान की तरफ इसलिए जा रहा है बिकॉज वी कम फ्रॉम दैट सॉयल, वी वर बॉर्न देयर, वी वर रेज्ड देयर। वहाँ पर जो ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन हो रही हैं उसको कनाडा किसी तरह देखता भी है? आई मीन व्हेन यू सिट ऑन दोस कमिटीज एंड यू नो आई नो यू आर फोकसिंग इन कनाडा, बट इन जनरल डू दे एवर टॉक अबाउट इट कि वहाँ पे भी लोग रहते हैं और वो भी जो है इंसान हैं और उनके साथ जो होता है वहाँ?
I think the conversations do take place because we do get emails, and we do sometimes do international studies, like the one I did on the, and I'm just talking here about the studies जो मैंने sponsor की है. on the rights of the garment workers. I was in Bangladesh again for a maternal event, newborn event, and I asked if I could go to the Rana Plaza, because the Rana Plaza had just collapsed in April, and this was I think either end of July or August. So they said वहाँ तो कुछ नहीं है, monsoons आ गए. I said doesn't matter, I want to go. So जब मैं गई Rana Plaza, when I approached that, it's a bit outside of Dhaka. All of a sudden, this group of people that was standing there holding pictures came rushing at me, and I asked मेरे साथ जो था बंदा, I said, who is this? They said, इन ये वालिदैन हैं जिनको बच्चों की लाशें ना मिली हैं. There was a big group and they were holding pictures of their children. So I asked, I said, will their bodies be found? And he said, no, look around you. So जब मैंने, that it was sort of, you know, fenced in, I walked in, looked around the rubble, we saw the picture, you know, labels of the various other companies. But कुछ भी नहीं था, आप मानेंगे नहीं, कुछ नहीं था. पानी खड़ा था and there was bricks. When I came back, I thought we need to look at the rights of the garment workers. तो उस पे हमने study किया. Then we were going to expand it and looked at you know, garment workers' rights in other countries, but we had an election. So every time there's an election, an order paper पे जो भी होता है, whether it's committee studies or you have private members built, they all fall off the order paper and you have to reintroduce them. So I did that study, but the one study that I have to talk about, which I've been doing since last year, was on Islamophobia. I was shocked last year when I was reading the papers or I was listening to news. I don't know अब के कहाँ से I heard the statistics के सबसे ज़्यादा मुसलमान जो मारे गए हैं ना G7 country is Canada. I was shocked to find that out. So I came to the committee. We had just finished a study on, and I don't know if
you know that incident that happened in London, Ontario.
London, Ontario.
Prime Minister Saab jo hain, he was very vocal, and they were there. NCC was there. What has happened after that?
Well, they've appointed a special envoy on Abi recently. Where, you know, after so many years on Islamophobia. The thing is this, कि मैं कहती हूँ कि लोग जब ये इंसिडेंट होता है, the same thing आपको पता है कि क्यूबेक के मस्जिद में 6 people were killed and 19 were injured, and politicians they will stand up and, you know, say thoughts and prayers. मैं इनको कहती हूँ कि it's gone beyond thoughts and prayers. We need concrete action now. So we started the study last June. We just completed it. We traveled to Vancouver, we went to Edmonton, we went to Quebec City, we went to that mosque where the shooting took place, and then we came to Toronto. We were here for 3 days, and we've covered every aspect. We've spoken to students, we've spoken to medical personnel, we've spoken to women, especially. It was very emotional in Edmonton, jahan pe the young women who sat in front of us and who said that our hijabs are pulled and we, you know, were spat on and coffees thrown at us. And we realized that if you're black and you're Muslim and you wear a hijab, your life is hell. We realized all of a sudden that there's a gendered aspect to Islamophobia, कि औरतों के खिलाफ ज़्यादा action ली जाती है. The women are subjected more to violence. So that report is in the process of being written. I say that's my legacy piece. We called CSIS, we called RCMP, we called Canadian Border Services. Who else did we call? CRA. Canada Revenue Agency, you must be aware of it. And I was working on this before we started the study on Islamophobia, has been targeting Muslim charities. So we asked them.
That's also very sad.
Yes. We asked them, they said, no, we don't specifically target Muslim charities, we don't know if they're Muslim charities. And I said, but when you audit 12 charities and 8 of them are Muslim.
Correct.
There's an issue, there's
an
problem
issue
there.
Yes.
So we didn't leave any stone unturned. We spoke to everybody. We went to a high school here in Mississauga. We went to the mosque. And मैं आपको एक मज़े की कहानी सुनाऊँ. When I go to the mosque, I go in my shalwar kameez. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't know I'm the senator. And then, you know, the other day I was at a mosque and the young women said, no, we're sitting segregated. I said, no, I've been called. I'm going to speak here on my study of Islamophobia. Can you call them and tell them that the senator is here? And she said, okay. And then she said, where is the senator? And I said, I am the senator. तो community से एक मेरी गुजारिश है कि find out who your champions are, find out who represents you.
बिल्कुल.
You know, I've been involved in community work for over 15 years now politically. 13 साल as a senator.
आप लोग जल्दी आया करें ना चैनल्स के ऊपर, आगे बात किया करें.
Whenever you want, why?
So उसमें क्या होता है कि people start seeing you more often, people start hearing from you more often. And then when you integrate in the society, then they know, okay, oh, I saw you there. You know,
But Anjum, I've done these things. You've seen me so many times.
Of course,
I never say no to an event.
I see you are always there.
I always go to an event, and then I get upset because there'll be a Caucasian MP and they'll all run around them, and halaki I'm senior to that person.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Prime Minister, Ministers, Senators, and then the MPs. And I say, you know, treat your own community
100%
leaders with respect.
100%.
सारे और communities करते हैं.
See, यही एक वो answer है, element है, respect का, that we are lacking, even sitting in this country. And I see that on all platforms. I swear to you, I see that we are not respecting each others. We are not respecting each other who we are. We still have these dilemmas कि आप इस सोसाइटी से, आप इस उससे हैं, आप इससे आपका ये सेक्ट है, आपका ये सेक्ट है. We need to get out of that. We are all one Pakistani living in Canada. We should all be one as a united front. And unless we become one, जैसे आपको 40 साल हो गए यहाँ रहते हुए, and I'm too very new to this country, you know. But I feel, when I feel the heat, you've been here so long enough. You probably know much better.
I do, and I you know, there's strength in numbers. When we speak with a unified voice, people listen.
100%.
And as an example is now, when I asked my question, and the community, वो लोग, people are calling me, आपने आग लगा दी, आपने आग लगा दी. And I said, thank God कि you all noticed. You know, and you raise your voices, you saw straight away. The immigration minister is responding. And I have to get an answer from the you know, the Senate leader also. Here I just want to tell you, Anjum, that I've had one private member's bill passed. I have a few, but the one that has passed is the one where it's going to be illegal. It's become the law. I have managed to change the law in Canada. It's going to be illegal for a Canadian to go overseas and buy an organ. Organ tourism khatam ho jayegi. Because we were hearing of people who were going and buying kidneys and were buying, you know, eye transplants.
That's another, yeah.
So, and sometimes we were hearing horror stories of what was happening. So that bill passed. I tabled that bill 4 times just to tell you how hard I worked on that. And it finally passed this year. Last year, a lone Liberal MP said no. And that was it.
So for people to understand, if they are in a process of getting a transplant, the organ donors jo hain, they have to be physically present in this country?
Well, you have to know how, the organ donors, because when you go abroad, we have no way of knowing कि वो organ कैसे होता.
Exactly.
Whether it was somebody was kidnapped, somebody sold it. So organ tourism ended. You are in Canada, you get your organs over here. You are on the list.
Wait in the list.
Wait in the list.
Waiting list, and you get it. You get it.
So
मुझे ये बताएं कि ये जो हम थोड़ी सी बात कर रहे थे अभी इस्लामोफोबिया के ऊपर, और जो हम बात कर रहे हैं जो ह्यूमन राइट्स के ऊपर, Canadian, and being a Canadian, you know, I know we are so vocal. You are vocal in the Senate. The Prime Minister is vocal. The Member of Parliaments are vocal. But उसकी implementation जो है, वो आपको मतलब lower levels, मतलब actually you don't see that much happening. And why would it take so long for politicians to pass something, and then why would it take so long to get implemented on a you know, on a platform where it actually can produce some results? ऐसा क्यों है?
Well, we have very strong hate laws in the country, so the laws are already there, the protection's already there, and this is what I spoke about. Abhi last Sunday, I was invited by the Ottawa Muslim Women's Organization. 350 people there, you know, from all races and all religions, and the Ottawa police chief was there, and as there was a young Muslim police officer, she told me, I'm the first Muslim female officer on the Ottawa police. And I spoke, मैं, you know, डट के बात करती हूँ, you know, I'm a Pushtun. And I said, you know, when the gentleman tore the Quran in Markham Masjid, gaaliyan di logon ko, you know, did Islamophobic slurs, got into his car and tried to come and run people over, why wasn't he charged with a hate crime? Why does it take so long for the police to charge people with hate crimes?
Correct.
This is the one question I keep asking and I don't get an answer. So something needs to be done. And somebody told me, I hope the police chief is listening. I said, I hope he's listening, because, you know, you deserve protection.
Yeah, but those reforms has to come from somewhere, no?
Well, the laws are there. The laws are there.
Yeah.
It's the police who laid the charges.
Right.
So they have to lay the charges. One thing that we learnt of concern is the rise of the right-wing groups.
And you think we are politicized in that by laying a charge as a hate crime?
I don't think so. Well, how were we politicized?
Then why we have a problem?
I don't know. I don't know why.
It lies somewhere.
Yeah, there's a problem somewhere, because I think laying a hate charge is more. I think must be more serious. I don't know. I mean, TK, they come, they arrest the person, but I'd like to know what happens. The same, if you remember in Brampton, there was a case where the Muslim man who had mental health issues.
Yes, I covered that.
He got shot. Well, what I did was I picked up the phone and I called the police chief. And I said, Mere Saath, and I had a whole lot of questions for him. And I said, please, mujhe bataye.
I had asked Bonnie Crombie 3 or 4 times on that.
Yeah. But I spoke directly to the police chief, and maine zyada bahar baat bhi nahi ki. And I asked, I said, do you do culture sensitivity training, you know, with your police?
Yeah.
And the thing is this, that, you know, I don't want to make it sound that I'm saying the police is not doing a good job. No, I'm a big supporter of our police force, because every day they're putting their life on the line for us. Bilkul. So I have a lot of respect for them. I support them, but I also sometimes, you know, and because I support them, that's why I question them sometimes. Yeah. And I was very happy. I spoke to the police chief of Peel Region. He explained everything to me. He was very, very nice, and I felt very good after talking to him, because I thought, you know what, we're in good hands. They realized that, and you know, I was very sad by what happened. So I thought, let me question. I'm sitting in this position.
And the man was not taking his medication.
Yes. Maybe the police was the wrong people to call. Maybe what they
have social workers to handle those kind of calls from 911.
Because the police are not, I don't think they're really trained, and I think it's too much to ask of them to be dealing with mental health issues.
Exactly.
Because that's not their, you know.
Yeah.
So I after my conversations, I realized that.
Yeah, you don't need to bring, you know, a squad to ask somebody to take medication.
An old man, so.
Yeah. It was very sad.
It was very sad.
I was on ground zero 2-3 times, spoken to a lot of people there, and I felt very, very upset what has happened.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing, because the more questions we ask, hopefully you get answers. And also it's being aware that this community is aware, and they're asking the questions.
Well, this is our job, you know, that in the media we create that awareness. We ask very specific questions, you know, to the people who run the cities, whether it's the mayors or it's the politicians or it's the prime minister, whoever it is. You know, as human beings, all lives are very precious, and they should be protected 100%. They should not be a waste just like that, you know. So one of the other things that comes to anybody's mind, being yourself as a senator from Pakistan, how do women look up to you when they come and talk to you? What do you feel? Like especially our people from Pakistan.
And 2 instances here happened to me very earlier in my career, and I still talk about them. I was at an event, and this young girl, who was obviously a young girl in hijab, I think she had come from Somalia. She'd probably been in refugee camps, and she was about 9-10 years old, and she came to me and she said, you know, Senator Salma, when I see you, I realize there's a place for me in Canada. And then there was another old lady, and I still get emotional when I talk about it. She was very old, and they helped her come, and she came to me and put her hand over my head and said, Pakistan ki beti, tum kahan pahunch gayi?
Mashallah.
This was almost 11-12 years ago, and it made such an impact on me.
Of course it does.
The one advantage is that I find that when I do go to some of the mosques, and we do, you know, the women realize who I'm there, they will take me aside and they will talk to me. And that's the one advantage of being a woman. is that the woman would not go that freely and talk to a man about the issues and the problems, but they come to me very freely. They talk to me. Young girls love me, and I do a lot of events in schools, in universities, and I in fact on Wednesday even I'm going to a school in Ottawa, and I think the following week I'm going to a school in Rosedale just to talk about the Senate and the work we do. And I remember एक छोटा सा बच्चा था, he couldn't sit still, and I knew कि ये पाकिस्तानी बच्चा है.
अच्छा.
And he would keep almost jumping up, and after I spoke and they said any question, his hand went up. He must have been about 8 years old, and the teacher said, okay, so what's your question?
Right.
He said, I forgot. But he was just so excited, that there was somebody that he could identify with, somebody who came from the same background as him, somebody who was from the same country as his parents, and they could identify. And recently, when we were doing the Islamophobia study, and I have two daughters, Anushka and Shanze, and I learned so much from them because young people, they look at things differently. And मैंने उनको कहा, I said, I'm going to the school and then going to the masjid, so should I go in pants and like a pantsuit and all? Because I said, when I go to the mosques, and please आप लोग मुझसे नाराज ना होए, this is because of love I'm saying this to you. Then they just treat you, okay, women, Muslim women, like I told you, the young woman asking me, okay, where's the senator? And I said, I'm the chair of the committee, so they would all take directions from me, all the staff. I'm the clerks laugh, I'm the big boss. And I hesitated to go in shalwar kameez, because I said they'll think I'm just another woman who's come to pray, but I'm leading the group. हम तकरीबन 10 बंदे थे.
So you think that this attire thing, it is hampering us to?
Well, I think sometimes when they look at you, they think कि हम औरतें जो हैं, maybe I don't know what it is. But that day I went in my shalwar kameez, and the reason I went in shalwar kameez,
we should be proud of that.
We should. I went in shalwar kameez was because my daughter said to me, she said, Mother, you go in your shalwar kameez because you want people to see that women like you are walking the corridors of power.
That's true.
And and I thought that makes so much sense. So जब मैं school गई, तो वहाँ पे बच्चों से we first talk about Islamophobia. Some of them, yes, we've had issues, we've had problems. And there was one young man there who said, "No, I've never had an issue." But after the people spoke and the girls spoke, and some of them spoke the issues they had, he recited a poem. It made all of us almost cry because it was so beautiful, and obviously he had been affected by Islamophobia. And I think what we don't realize is the burden that is placed on our children when they go to schools. Sometimes I think parents don't have any idea. And then a couple of the girls came to me and they said, Senator Salma, if we had known you were going to come in shalwar kameez, we would have worn shalwar kameez. So we're looking for positive role, sort of positive role models. Our young people are looking, and I'm very happy that some of the work I enjoy the most is going into schools and universities.
मैं आपसे on a tips, I'm going to ask you 5 questions.
Sure.
These are rapid fire questions.
Sure. And you expect an answer for all of them?
And I expect an answers from you for that.
Okay.
Number 1. क्या हमारा मीडिया यहाँ पर वो काम कर रहा है जिससे कि अवेयरनेस क्रिएट हो रही है, या आप समझती हैं कि बहुत कुछ और होना चाहिए?
काम कर रही है, बट बहुत कुछ और होना चाहिए. No,
like एक दो टिप्स बता दीजिए क्या होना चाहिए.
Find out who's speaking. Hold us accountable. If you fail, I've failed you. As I was appointed, Prime Minister Harper wanted a Muslim voice in his caucus. आपको पता है, I'm the only Muslim in the Conservative caucus.
Yeah.
But he wanted that. He said she's a consensus builder, and I want representation from the Muslim community, and he specifically wanted a woman. So hold us to account if you feel that we're not doing our work. Ask us the tough questions. I want to hear from the media. You are, like, I'm talking to you, there are other medias I'll be talking to who've reached out to me. No, they are doing work, but there more needs to be done.
And you think the more needs to be done, they need to be more vocal?
They need to be more vocal.
Or unbiased?
Unbiased, vocal, and tough with their questions.
Tough with their questions.
I don't want कि मेरी खैर with me, so I'm one of you, so you'll ask me the questions. But if you have a non-Pakistani, उससे भी मुश्किल सवाल करें.
100%. Being a Pakistani, we are lagging a lot in this country. What is lagging us behind? हमें क्या करना चाहिए?
You know, I meet very successful Pakistanis also. So Canadians,
In general, I'm talking.
Canadians of Pakistani origin, but you feel we're lagging. And my question to you is, where are we lagging?
I asked you that question before we went on a break. Are we united as one Pakistani?
And that's where we're lagging.
That's where we are lagging.
We're not united.
So we need to get united.
And you know what?
और
अपने घर में
किस
जब
front पे जाके unite हो सकते हैं हम?
I don't know. I'll tell you, in your own home, you have issues and problems in the family. But don't you get together and resolve it?
100%.
बाहर बात नहीं करते.
100%.
That's how it should be in the community. And I say, please, if I have wronged or said anything, come and tell me.
क्या प्लेटफॉर्म यूज करने चाहिए उसको करने के लिए?
Every platform that is available. You know, TV, media, gatherings में जो होती है, we should be bringing the positive role models. You know, our students, some of our young women, they're doing exceptionally well. Bring them forward.
क्या हमारी मस्जिदें यहाँ अपना रोल प्ले कर रही हैं जो उनको करना चाहिए? Are they creating awareness? ये जो issues हैं, जो social issues हैं, उस पर बात करते हैं हम? You feel you've been here 40 years?
You want the truth?
I want the truth.
No.
Nothing but the truth.
No. And I'll tell you, I also want our masjids, and here I'm talking as a mother. When we talk about Islam, let's talk about the love in Islam. Let's talk about the forgiveness. Allah Kareem hai, Raheem hai.
बेशक.
Let's talk about that. There's a lot of love in Islam.
बिल्कुल.
And that's the stress that we find. But if I take my children and all they're going to be told is you're going to burn in hell, children don't want to go. And I'm being brutally honest because I want people to hear and I want us to, you know, learn. My younger daughter is in Iqaluit. वहाँ पे there's maybe over 100, maybe more Muslims. छोटा सा masjid है. That masjid is open to everybody. I've been there twice. Once to open the food bank over there, and abhi I went, you know, Muslim welfare does the project Ramadan.
Yeah.
सबसे अच्छी बात जो मुझे लगी वहाँ, बच्चे are running around. And then when you stand for salat, they come and stand near you. 4-year-old,
MashaAllah.
you know, puts on the hijab and will come and stand next to you and do
And
salat.
that's all nationalities.
Yeah, it's all nationalities, but they're all Muslims. And they feel that mosque is their place where they can be. Every weekend, at Saturday, Sunday, they were doing iftar over there and people were bringing the food. But the children were feeling comfortable. They were not being stifled. The women are not being stifled. You know, that's what I want to see. These are gathering places. You know, at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the mosques were where people were getting directions from. The mosques is where, you know, people would have discussions and issues would be discussed and they would move forward.
आपने अभी अपने थोड़ी देर पहले एक बातचीत में ये कहा कि मुस्लिम चैरिटीज़ जो हैं they've been audited. हम लोग क्या ऐसा गलत कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर जो हमें नहीं करना चाहिए?
I think sometimes it's just
As a charity.
As a charity, I don't think we're really doing anything wrong.
Okay.
I want to be very clear about that. Sometimes we don't understand the process, and the bookkeeping can be a thing. But that is the one thing. The Muslim charities are not doing anything wrong. Not that any that I know.
Okay.
I haven't done anything wrong. It's just.
But you think it's
and
more
that's
to
why,
do with the paper trail जो है उनका?
Well, it's not even a paper trail. Some of them, I feel are being targeted. Some are being targeted. Muslim charities. And we had one lawyer who was a couple of
Do you
years.
think anybody is lobbying for this?
We are. Senators are. And we've been talking about it. And we had a meeting with the CRA people before we started the study on Islamophobia. And we had one witness who said he was in the States, and he said he told them that he's going to the Senate of Canada to testify about the, you know, Muslim so-called terrorism. And he said they laughed at me and they said, "Ke, you're concerned about that? We in the States, we are not concerned about that anymore. We moved on." You know, people are more concerned, and some of our witnesses testified, they were more concerned with the 300 right-wing groups that have come forward, that, you know, in the recent thing. And that's where we should be worried. That's where we should be worried about.
How worried we should be?
We should be very worried.
You think so?
I think so. Because jo attack London mein hua, he was listening to somebody's ideology, right? And what we have seen in the recent, the 2 attacks in the mosques, in one in Richmond Hill, one in Markham. Then in Montreal में जो हुआ, where he was chasing the girl with hijab, and then she went in and he tried to break open the door with a rock.
Right.
Kitchener में, I think 2 women had a gun pulled at them. And one of our expert witnesses said that 1% of the hate crimes are being reported, and everyone acknowledges, the people who keep the stats, that 71% hate against Muslim has increased by 71%. So think about it, if only 1% of the crime is being reported, what are the real numbers? And I always say, numbers are more, we're not hearing about them. The young girl who was chased on the TTC with a big knife because she was in hijab. The family in Mississauga, Muslim family, there somebody tried to run over. हजार किस्से हैं.
हमारी हाई कमीशन जो हैं, यहाँ जो एम्बेसीज हैं, कॉन्सुलेट्स हैं, are they doing their work that they are supposed to do, or there is a lot of more room to improve?
They are doing the work they do.
Being somebody for 40 years living here.
They are doing the work they do. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because in conversations with other people from the region, they're shocked at how efficient our consulate is, at how shocked our High Commission is. We go there, it's organized, I go to the High Commission, I will go, I need some paperwork done, take a number, wait, and things get done. They don't give you aggravation. Anyway, not for me, but when I've been there and I've seen लोगों का काम हो रहा है, and if any of our friends have gone for visas, वो भी हो रहा है. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I'm very happy with.
Do you think कि जो Canadian companies हैं, are they inclined to invest in our part of the world, in Pakistan, under the situation we are in right now?
No, bhai. Would you invest somewhere where there was instability? I'm being very frank with you. I sat for many years on the Foreign Affairs and International Trade Committee, and that's why मेरा दिल दुखता है. Why, because the people of Pakistan don't deserve this, and I'll tell you why. It's the poor people who suffer. I was just there for 5 weeks.
ये bilateral relations जो हैं, ये strengthen कैसे हो सकते हैं?
Canada is in a good place. Pakistan is one of our top 10 countries from where we get immigration. But work needs to be done. We need to have more visits. We went Commonwealth delegation, हम गए थे 2018 में. After 10 years there was a visit to Pakistan. अगर stability नहीं है तो then there's travel advisories, there's all kinds of issues there. And sometimes you talk to people and they were not willing to listen also.
So, being yourself as a senator, where do you see yourself moving forward after the last 12 years and now you are, I think age 75, that's where you retire, or you can retire?
You retire then, but you retire anytime you want. And I remember about just before COVID, that January, I actually wanted to retire.
Achha.
And I don't know who told my brother Badr Munir Chaudhary, and he said, Senator Sahiba, you can't. So the community, they say, you're one of the few people who is not afraid to raise your voice. So the other day,
have you ever become afraid of raising a voice in this country?
No.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've been told not to raise that voice?
Never. And that's when people tell me, it must be so hard for you. I say no. And Wakai, I've been sitting.
Have you made enemies?
Yes.
A lot of them?
In fact, last week somebody tried to throw me under the bus. Yes. I have. Especially with the study on Islamophobia, I have made a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Not within the parliament. Maybe 1 or 2 within the parliament.
Do you feel threatened?
No.
Okay.
Allah, zindagi to Allah ke haath mein hai.
Bilkul. Yeah. So, where do you see yourself moving forward? I asked you some very.
I am thinking
some
now.
Of those questions.
I think about retiring. To tell you the truth, I get tired. I get very tired. My children are older, but I still find that the responsibility. I'm one of those people. If I'm there, I have to do the work. I don't slack off. and it kind of takes a toll on your health. You know, I'm an old woman now, so it takes a toll on my health. But there's more work to be done. There's putting a positive spin on Pakistan, and we're doing something on the 17th, and inshallah, I'm hoping it does well. We're going to be promoting the music of Pakistan in the Parliament of Canada. I'm hoping it does well. So and the one thing I can say is that being there, and I always tell people, make sure, you know, people when they see you, they'll judge you in the first 30 seconds.
Correct.
And I always laugh. I say I have to be scrupulously honest about the work I do, and I have to be very well dressed, very well put together. लोग देखेंगे मुझे तो कहेंगे यार बिचारी पाकिस्तानी इसको क्या पता. It's the reality. It's the sad reality.
Any 3 things you think you want to do before you retire?
I'm hoping we'll have more people in politics, more people to replace, you know, me when I retire. There'll be more young women and young men in politics. And I don't tell everyone that get into politics. I tell people, come volunteer. You know, I ask them to come volunteer with me. That's the other thing. The other senators, they get so many people from their community, jo racialized senators hai. They will come, the young ones, and they will do. I've had people come in my office, and you know, they've volunteered, and they've gone on to work in other places. Politics is not for everyone. Volunteer in your MP's office, your senator's office, find out if that's for you. But have a degree in hand before you think of politics. It's not easy. You have to have a very thick skin. People will dislike you for no reason.
Right.
Yeah, and they will be very vocal about it. So I'm hoping that people will replace. The image of
That's
Pakistan
the first one. What's the
image
second?
of Pakistan will improve. You know, we try very hard. Somehow, it's been a bit of a challenge. That.
Okay.
What would be my third thing? That I leave a good legacy behind.
What is the legacy that you want to leave behind as a senator? To have a footstep followed by a Pakistani senator in a Canadian history?
Someone who is not afraid to speak out, who looked at the issues. And that doesn't mean I represent all of Canada, I represent all of Ontario. So when we did the study on cyberbullying, or we did other studies, as we're doing abhi jo hum kar rahe hain, landmark study again on the racism, anti-black racism within the Human Rights Commission of Canada. Aap soch lein. If you and me as racialized people, we can't go to the Human Rights Commission of Canada because there's racism there. Where do we go?
That will be very sad.
Yeah.
Senator, I am humbled. Thank you so much for coming down here and having this great conversation, you know, with us, and especially talking to our viewers, putting your message across, some of it what you've been doing and what you've been accomplished. We look forward, inshallah, to have you see more years to come to do more things that you're doing. Any particular message before you leave tonight? And we'll get you back again, inshallah.
No, thank you. And you know, to everyone, find your passion, whatever you're passionate about. Like, I'm not saying every woman should go out and work. I'm not saying everyone should go to politics.
Yeah.
And let your children flourish, support them. And I tell the men, jo kaam main kar rahi hu, I do it because my husband supports me, my children support me. So we need to support our sisters and our, you know, our mothers and our daughters.
Yeah.
For the men. We need. I know of so many children who reach out to me, who, because they want to study, want to get a professional degree, their brothers sometimes the fathers will not support them.
Yeah.
And I know one very particular case where she's been disowned, literally.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Viewers, ये है हमारे साथ Senator Salma Ataullahjan, and we had a very nice conversation, a little bit of rapid fire, some of those questions we have asked. I hope some of the information जो हमने आपके साथ share की है, it will clear some of those confusions that's out there. But again, you can always reach out to Salma Ataullahjan. You have a Twitter handle, your social media handle. You want to put that on so people can get in touch with you?
It's at Senator Salma Ataullahjan, and I'm on Instagram too. But Instagram is generally personal. I mean, if anybody is interested in what I'm doing, where I'm going, Instagram is there, Senator Salma, and my Twitter handle at Senator Salma Ataullahjan.
At Senator Salma Ataullahjan.
No, Twitter is at Senator Salma.
Twitter at Senator Salma. Okay, ji, thank you so much for watching us tonight, and we'll come back to you next week again with another exciting episode of Prime Time with Anjum Malik. अपना ख्याल रखें, दुआ में याद रखें, और ख़ास तौर पे वॉइस ऑफ टोरंटो टेलीविज़न को आप देखें तो उसको आप लाइक करें, शेयर करें, अपने दोस्तों को बताएं, फैमिलीज़ को बताएं, एंड विल बी बैक नेक्स्ट वीक. बहुत शुक्रिया. अल्लाह हाफ़िज़. बाय बाय.